I'm Azaria Tagaya and this is Nightline, the top stories. E-waste probe involving top DOE officials, graftbusters freeze 1 million ringgit into accounts. And millions of devotees mark Thaipusam across the country in harmonious celebrations. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC has frozen bank accounts involving funds totaling about 1 million ringgit as part of its investigation into the management of electronic waste or e-waste involving the Department of Environment DOE Director General, his deputy and 2 other individuals. Cash amounting to 170,000 ringgit has also been seized since the MACC launched the probe on January 19th. According to a source, the frozen accounts include a company account with 700,000 ringgit and an individual account holding approximately 300,000 ringgit. The MACC's investigation is focusing on allegations of abuse of power and corruption linked to the failure to take enforcement action against scheduled waste management companies allegedly involved in illegal waste disposal activities. Previously, it was reported that the DOE Director General, Deputy Director General and an assistant officer were remanded for 7 days until next Thursday, while another member of the public was remanded for 3 days until Sunday. MACC Investigation Division Senior Director Datuk Zainul Darus, when contacted, confirmed the matter and said the case is being investigated under Section 16 of the MACC Act. Closed-circuit television CCTV cameras will be installed at all petrol stations in border areas starting this year to curb leakage and the misappropriation of RON 95 petrol and diesel. This approach by the Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry, KPDN, is also aimed at detecting the increasingly sophisticated tactics used by smuggling syndicates. According to the Ministry's Enforcement Director General, Dato' Azman Adam, monitoring high-risk locations using this technology can help detect syndicate operations and determine whether they are being assisted by certain parties.
Macam mana mungkin seorang yang cuba menyudup petrol boleh mengisi 40 tong jeriken kalau tidak ada kerjasama daripada pihak-pihak tertentu. Oleh sebab itulah teknologi yang akan kita gunakan, termasuk pemasangan kamera, CCTV dan sebagainya, data-data yang kita perlukan, semuanya akan membantu siasatan kita.
He also said that 9 petrol stations near the Kelantan border have been flagged for unusually high sales and believed to be linked to the smuggling or misappropriation of subsidized petrol and diesel. These stations are located in Pasir Mas, Tumpat, Tanah Merah and Jeli. In addition, sales at the targeted stations were seen to fall sharply whenever KPDN officers were stationed there for monitoring. Thaipusam was celebrated in a vibrant and harmonious atmosphere by millions of Hindu devotees across the country on Sunday. The main focus was Batu Caves in Gombak, Selangor, where thousands of devotees thronged the Sri Subramania Swami Temple, one of the most important places of worship for Hindus. From early morning, devotees took part in processions to fulfill their vows, carrying palkudam or milk pots and kavadi, symbolizing devotion, penance and sacrifice. Some devotees also performed rituals such as breaking coconuts and shaving their heads as a sign of gratitude and spiritual purification.
Tahun ni saya nak masuk ambil ni, nak cuba je. Tak pernah naik sebelum ni, tapi Hindu juga, tapi tak pernah naik. Tengok je dalam TV macam tu je. So aku macam minat lah nak naik atas tu, nak tengok apa tu. Aku minta sesuatu. Tapi harap lah dia berlaku lah. Yang tu rahsia sikit.
Berkenaan dengan apa? Mungkin jodoh ke?
Jodoh.
First time macam berat. Lepas tu jalan-jalan okey lah sekarang. Tak ada berat sangat. Kita boleh jalan, boleh naik.
In addition, a blood donation campaign was held at the temple's main entrance, targeting 2,200 bags of blood to be supplied to hospitals across the Klang Valley. On Saturday, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, in his Thaipusam message, expressed hope that the celebration would continue to foster mutual respect and harmony among Malaysia's multiracial society. Meanwhile, the celebrations at Batu Caves also drew visitors from various communities.
Datang di sini bangun 6 pagi dengan wife dengan anak semua. Lepas tu tiba 6.30 lah. Parking kita dah tahu dah sebab tahun lepas kali pertama, ini kali kedua. Kita dah tahu dah parking kat mana. So macam my wife dia artis, dia suka benda-benda culture macam ni. Bukan setakat Thaipusam, perayaan Melayu, Chinese semua dia join lah.
Foreign tourists were also seen soaking in the atmosphere and were captivated by the blend of culture, tradition and religious devotion.
In Japan, the culture and religious is quite separate. But the Malaysia culture and the religious is together.
This is our first time in Malaysia and in this environment. And it's very different experience for us because we have never been in environments like that.
Authorities estimate that between 1.4 and 1.5 million visitors are expected to flock to Batu Caves during this year's Thaipusam celebrations, which will conclude on Tuesday. Elsewhere in Perak, this year's Thaipusam celebrations in Ipoh showcased not only religious devotion, but also the strong spirit of volunteerism within the local community. At the Sri Subramania Temple in Gunung Ceroh, volunteers actively prepared and distributed free food and drinks to devotees and visitors.
Mana-mana pengunjung boleh datang ke gerai dan menikmati juadah makanan percuma yang mana kita terpercaya dengan bilangan yang ada mampu memberikan makanan percuma sekitar mungkin 6,000 pengunjung yang ada ini hari.
Cleanliness was another key focus, with more than 800 volunteers mobilized during the festive celebrations.
It's not only about cleaning the temple's environment, whereas we are here to tell the people and to create awareness that we are here not to dispose garbage in a bad way. Cleanliness and hygiene is important, equally important to everyone, so that's our motive.
These efforts were further reinforced by the Ipoh City Council, which deployed nearly 200 personnel from its solid waste management unit to carry out cleaning and garbage collection throughout the celebration period. Overall, the collective efforts were seen as a positive movement, helping to ensure comfort, safety and convenience for all, especially those celebrating Thaipusam. In Pulau Penang, Thaipusam celebrations were marked by vibrant kavadi processions, prayers and the rhythms of traditional music. Hindu devotees began arriving at major temples as early as 6 a.m., many dressed in traditional attire. Celebrations along Jalan Air Terjun in Georgetown remained orderly, with no untoward incidents reported.
Penugasan dan juga kelancaran kita punya sambutan pada tahun ini. Kita deploy kita punya 1,128 orang, kita punya personnel. Dan bertugasnya 24 jam sehinggalah kita punya pada malam besok.
So far, an estimated 200,000 devotees and visitors have attended the celebrations, with numbers expected to rise to around 500,000 by the peak of Thaipusam. Now, the government will continue to prioritise efforts to strengthen public services. This commitment was reiterated by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, with a focus on services that are safe, efficient and people-friendly. Earlier on Sunday, Anwar took advantage of the long break during the Federal Territory Day and Thaipusam public holiday to inspect the ETS Tiga train service from Kuala Lumpur to Johor Bahru.
It's very convenient.
Sharing his experience on Facebook, the Prime Minister said the feedback received had been very encouraging, particularly regarding passengers' comfort and the smooth, well-organised travel experience. He also met with passengers to hear their views on the quality of services provided. The ETS Tiga service on the KL Central Johor Bahru route began operations on December 12th last year. This service reduces travel time to 4 hours and 30 minutes, compared with 5 to 7 hours by road. Meanwhile, Anwar emphasised that every development effort must ensure that no group is left behind in the pursuit of prosperity. The Prime Minister pointed out that the benefits of progress must be enjoyed fairly by all citizens. In another social media post marking Federal Territory Day, Anwar stressed that national development should not be measured solely by tall buildings, physical infrastructure or modern facilities. Instead, it should touch the lives and welfare of the people, guided by justice and societal needs. Therefore, the spirit of compassion, mutual respect and togetherness, which forms the core of the Madani government, will continue to be strengthened to ensure harmony, stability and shared well-being. Anwar also extended his warm wishes to all residents of Kuala Lumpur, Putrajaya and Labuan in celebration of Federal Territory Day.
Now, Kuala Lumpur is one of Malaysia's 3 federal territories. For many, the metropolis is a symbol of progress, a land of opportunity and a place to build a future. Nightline's Muhammad Nadir Azfar takes a closer look at how city dwellers have cultivated a sense of belonging and identity within the federal capital.
On February 1st, 1974, former Prime Minister Tun Abdul Razak Hussein officially declared Kuala Lumpur as Malaysia's first federal territory through the Kuala Lumpur Agreement. A decade later, Labuan was gazetted as a federal territory in 1984, followed by Putrajaya in 2001. While Putrajaya emerged as the nation's administrative centre and Labuan developed into a key oil and gas hub, Kuala Lumpur transformed into the country's economic, financial and cultural heart. Its role as a centre for assimilation has made Kuala Lumpur a magnet for migration, with many coming to earn a living and seize opportunities, especially among young adults entering the workforce. However, for some, the city falls short as a place to truly put down roots.
I prefer where I'm staying now, although it's a bit of distance for me, but I don't mind travelling every day. Actually, in fact, I work in KL, I travel every day. I take the train, it takes me 1.5 hours, KTM. It's just in front of my office. I take the train back, I go home.
And do you think that's worth it, all the energy spent, all the money spent on
1.5 hours you can sleep. You come back, you're ready to work. You go back after your shift, you're still sleeping. So you save a lot of time. You don't save time actually, but you save a lot of money. Your parking in KL, your petrol.
KL is like, the city life is very, very demanding. In all different aspects, a lot of aspects, not just the living costs. So yeah, probably no, because I'd like to go back to Sarawak and enjoy the peacefulness and also settle down there.
Saya memang selesa lah duduk dekat Kuala Lumpur ni. Walaupun orang kata kos hari hidup tu agak tinggi kan. Tapi sebabkan saya memang dari kecil membesar dekat Kuala Lumpur ni, dekat bangsa ni. Jadi saya rasa memang saya takkan berpindah lah. Kalau ada rezeki memang saya akan stay je dekat sini.
Former Bukit Nanas Assemblyman and ex-Bukit Bintang Member of Parliament, Tan Sri Lee Lam Tai noted that few are willing to make the capital their home, citing the many challenges that come with city life.
Issues that should be given serious attention by the authorities, by the government in particular, is how to enhance the quality of life. And enhancing the quality of life means that everyone, including the young, I think they should have this better access to transport these facilities, to affordable housing,
Lee added that while Kuala Lumpur boasts tall skyscrapers and modern technology, the real priority is to ensure the city provides meaningful benefits to its residents, enhancing their quality of life.
I think it's for the authorities to constantly engage, the young people, to understand their issues, understand their problems. And also through this engagement, perhaps I think the authorities can do more to help the young to find the path towards having a sense of belonging, to the city.
Federal Territories Day marks the moment when the transition from migrant roots to urban natives become visible. Unlike those before them, young people only see the Federal Territories as a place where they temporarily pass through and not as a permanent home. Muhammad Nadir Asfar, TV3.
Firefighters turn to tube wells to tackle Muar fire. More news from the local front after this breather.
Kalau ikut pilihan kita punya bunga kan, kalau bunga ros gulung-gulung lepas lipat-lipat baru susun-susun lipatan itu. Penyediaan daun getahnya untuk dibuat kraft tangan, kita pergi ladang lah. Kalau mau pilih yang cantik-cantik barulah lawak itu bunga.
Perlu ada satu gaya pemakaian topi untuk tempat kita lah. Negara kita ni kan duduk dalam garisan khatulistiwa, iklim dia iklim tropika. Jadi saya namakanlah gaya tropika.
انت شو اسم العيلة؟ شو اسمك الكامل؟
Hin Raja berusia 6 tahun. Anak kepada Wisam dan Rami ini terperangkap dalam mimpi ngeri di Gaza. 29 Januari 2024, dunianya hancur. Sendirian di celah jasad keluarganya, dia merayu. 10 Februari 2024, dia ditemui kaku. Hin pergi sebagai saksi bisu kepada dunia yang gagal melindunginya.
هند كانت تحب تروح على البحر وكأنه البحر كأنه صاحبها يعني كأنه رفيق إلها.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headline.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
Understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
Thanks for sticking with us. Now, Bukit Aman is holding discussions with the Attorney General's Chambers, AGC, to find the best mechanisms for addressing sensitive issues involving race, religion and the Royal Institution, collectively referred to as the 3 Rs, on social media platforms. Inspector General of Police, Datuk Sri Muhammad Khalid Ismail, said these issues require close monitoring as they are becoming increasingly widespread due to the extreme openness of social media platforms. According to Khalid, authorities need to address the matter as users often post comments freely on these platforms that can sometimes cross legal boundaries.
Isu-isu yang berkaitan dengan perkauman, agama, hasutan dan sebagainya memang berlarutan, memang berterusan. Jadi banyak isu-isu ni kita sedang teliti dan kita akan ambil tindakan berperingkat-peringkat.
Khalid said this to reporters during a community policing program at the Sri Subramania Swami Temple in Batu Cave, Selangor on Sunday. Regarding the probe into former Free Malaysia Today journalist Rex Tan, the top cop said the investigation papers are expected to be submitted to the AGC in the near future. So far, police have recorded the statements of 5 witnesses to assist with the investigation under the Sedition Act. Tan was detained and later released on police bail after his statement was recorded on January 16th, following controversial questions he raised during a public forum. In a separate development, Khalid confirmed that another member of the Captain Prabha gang has been brought back from Thailand. Following this, police have now successfully detained a total of 17 suspects. Khalid said the male suspect in his 30s arrived in the country at around 10:30 p.m. on Saturday night following close cooperation with the Thai police. He was then brought to court on Sunday morning for a remand application. The suspect had attempted to enter Thailand from India before being denied entry by the authorities and detained for further action.
Yang kita cuba kesan ni, kita sendiri bila kita ambil tindakan, dia akan bertindak untuk melarikan diri. Ini yang kadang-kala kita sukar nak mendapatkan mereka. Jadi bila ada kerjasama di antara kita dan juga negara-negara yang berkenaan, mereka akan menghubungi kita dan kita akan mengambil tindakan yang sepatutnya lah.
He added that 15 members of the gang remain at large and their locations are currently being identified. Earlier, police successfully brought back 3 individuals suspected to be members of the same gang from Mumbai. Operation Jack Sparrow was launched to hunt down the remaining gang members who are believed to have fled abroad since September last year, including via illegal routes. In Johor, firefighters are planning to deploy tube wells as a water source to tackle a peatland fire that broke out on an 18-hectare oil palm plantation in Mukim Airita, Muar. The State Fire and Rescue Department said the move is being considered due to limited water supply as dry and windy conditions continue to complicate firefighting efforts. The blaze, which broke out on Saturday, has spread to several sectors across oil palm and rubber plantations, as well as scrubland near a pineapple plantation, with parts of the affected area successfully extinguished and other sections now under control. Despite this, firefighting efforts remain challenging because of the peatland structure, extreme heat and the fire spreading underground. To assist the firefighters, the Department of Irrigation and Drainage has deepened existing drains to provide additional water resources. With 40 personnel deployed on the ground, the fire is expected to be fully extinguished within the next 2 days. Israel reopens Gaza's Rafah crossing. The details when Nightline returns.
Dia telah tiada, namun suaranya tidak akan pernah padam. Sebuah karya yang mengangkat kebenaran yang cuba dilenyapkan, simbol kegagalan dunia dalam melindungi nyawa yang tidak berdosa. Paparan kekejaman tanpa batasan. Setiap titisan air mata adalah gema kesedaran sejagat yang menggoncang dunia. The Voice of Hind Rajab. Sebagai tanda solidariti, bersama kita teruskan perjuangan ini.
Mula-mula memanglah tak ada apa-apa. Balik office pun jumpa depan rumah. Takut nanti lama-lama hati boleh berubah tau.
Adik percaya yang dia tak akan buat benda bukan-bukan belakang adik.
Berjiran. Bukannya duduk sebilik, bukannya duduk serumah.
Sekarang ni dah ada orang belakangkan I, which is my Shiran.
Tak baik tau tinggal abang kat luar seorang-seorang. Nanti orang tengok, murat.
Sebab itulah Ila rasa takut sangat setiap kali ada perempuan cuba dekat dengan abang.
Bisik Asmara, Isnin hingga Khamis 10 malam di Samarinda TV3.
Seronoknya berkelah, buat aktiviti, makan bersama.
Memori piknik, riadasi isi keluarga.
Tapi Fatin, awak suka tak pisang goreng ke cempedak goreng ke?
Mestilah suka, sedapnya. Menu gorengan kita bawakan hari Selasa.
Ramai yang cipta konten tanpa batas.
Ini bahaya sebab privacy jadi konten.
Pisah tidur demi menjaga kesihatan mental.
Kita bincangkan Khamis ini.
Gurau senda dengan pasangan.
Hilangkan stres, erat kasih sayang.
Semuanya di WHI TV3.
Dan stream sekarang, ditonton.
Lebuh raya jadi litar lumba haram. Remaja bawah umur dipantau.
Tuan saja ingat nak jalan-jalan je.
Mak ayah tahu tak keluar? Ha? Abang tahu? Aku tanya mak ayah. Kau mau apa?
19.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui tonton.
Back on Nightline with some foreign updates. Israel partially reopened the Rafah crossing between the Gaza Strip and Egypt on Sunday, following months of appeals from humanitarian organizations. Access has so far been limited to the movement of people, with no aid allowed through the crossings. The passage of individuals in both directions is expected to begin on Monday. Rafah is a key entry point for supplies into the Palestinian territory, where humanitarian conditions remain dire after 2 years of war. An official from Gaza's health ministry said about 200 patients were waiting to leave the territory once the crossing reopened. No agreement has yet been reached on the number of Palestinians allowed to enter or exit. Iran has warned the United States that any initiation of war could spark a regional conflict. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei on Sunday issued the warning following Washington's recent military deployment in the Middle East. He said the U.S. was seeking to exploit Iran and its vast oil and natural gas resources, and added that the recent anti-government protests resembled a coup, citing the storming of numerous government offices, banks and mosques. The anti-government demonstrations in Iran began over the rising cost of living, but have since grown into a widespread protest movement. Tehran, however, said negotiations with the U.S. are ongoing and indicated it is ready to hold talks, provided its missile and defense capabilities are not on the agenda. 5 people have been killed in 2 separate explosions in Iran, which local officials and state media say were caused by gas leaks. 1 person was killed and 14 others injured when a blast struck a residential building in the southern port city of Bandar Abbas on the Gulf Coast on Saturday. A second explosion killed 4 people in the southwestern city of Avaz. The explosion in Bandar Abbas tore through an 8-story building, destroying 2 floors and damaging several vehicles and shops in the Mu'alim Boulevard area. The incidents come amid ongoing regional tensions following a build-up of U.S. forces in the Gulf and pressure from U.S. President Donald Trump on Tehran to reach a deal over its nuclear program. A powerful snowstorm blasted southern U.S. states on Saturday, snarling travel and bringing sub-zero temperatures as deadly weather intensified in regions not accustomed to extreme winter conditions. Heavy snow blanketed North Carolina and neighboring states on Saturday, prompting authorities to urge residents to stay off the roads. Winter storm warnings were issued across all of North and South Carolina, as well as parts of Georgia, eastern Tennessee, Kentucky, and southern Virginia. In North Carolina alone, the storm led to around 750 vehicle crashes. The severe weather also disrupted air travel, forcing more than 1,800 flight cancellations at Charlotte Douglas International Airport. The latest bout of wintry weather comes just a week after a powerful storm swept across a large part of the country, killing more than 100 people. In other news, 2 masked men carried out a brazen daylight robbery at a jewellery shop in the Richmond area of southwest London on Saturday. Video footage circulating on social media shows the robbery took place before noon when one of the men smashed the shop's windows with a hammer. Despite staff inside trying to intervene, the suspects managed to grab jewellery and flee as bystanders looked on. The raid is the latest in a string of brazen attacks on jewellery shops across London. Now let's switch to some sports news with football and the Super League. 2 matches were played on Sunday. Reigning champions Johor Darul Takzim JDT FC recorded a commanding 5-0 victory over PDRM FC, while Penang FC managed to secure a draw away at Kelantan United. In Kuala Nerus, second-place Selangor FC battled hard to snatch a point against Terengganu FC. Playing at the Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin Stadium, Terengganu struck first when midfielder Karekas thundered home a left-footed strike just before half-time. However, the Turtles' joy was short-lived as prolific winger Faisal Halim danced past Azmi Murad before capping off his delightful move with a stunning finish. The 1-1 draw put Selangor in second place, 1 point ahead of Kuching City FC. Turning to badminton and the 2026 Thailand Masters, Go Jin Wei narrowly missed creating history as the first Malaysian women's singles player to lift a World Tour Super 300 title after being forced to retire in the final in Bangkok on Sunday. Facing India's world number 63, Devika Sahag, world number 68, Jin Wei lost the first game 8-21. She was trailing 3-6 in the second game when she signalled to the umpire that she was struggling with an ankle injury and subsequently retired from the match. Fatigue was also evident as the 26-year-old had played 12 games over her previous 4 matches, compared with Devika's 8. Despite the loss, Jin Wei's campaign was historic, making her the first Malaysian women's singles shuttler to reach a Super 300 World Tour final. She will take home $9,500 as the runner-up. Well, that's it for Nightline. As we wrap, let's take a look as people enter the icy waters of the Moscow River for relaxation. Wearing rescue wetsuits to stay warm and to feel weightless, participants take part in ice floating, an activity that is growing in popularity in Russia. With that, I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.